Welcome, Forged Together, the podcast where life isn't meant to be walked alone and meaningful strength isn't built in isolation. If you're a man, a husband, or a dad, or someone striving to be better in those roles, this space is for you. We talk about real life, real struggles, real growth, grounded in faith, fellowship, and lived experience. Today's episode is especially timely because it's the beginning of the year. A season filled with goals, motivation, and resolutions. But here's the hard truth. Most resolutions don't last. So today I want to challenge you to stop chasing temporary goals and start building lasting change. You've seen it every January. The gyms fill up, diet plans trend, motivation's high. By February, or maybe sooner, most of it fades. Why? Because resolutions are often built on emotion, not identity. They're focused on outcomes, not purpose. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to get in shape. I want to be healthier. Those aren't bad goals, but they're incomplete. A goal without a why is fragile. When life gets busy, work piles up, kids get sick, the motivation starts dipping. The goals suddenly collapse. Men especially struggle here because we're wired to just push through it. We don't always reflect on it. Lasting change doesn't start with what you want to do. It starts with why you want to do it. Ask yourself, why does my health matter? Why does my strength matter? Why does my discipline matter? For many of us, the real answers might sound a little like this. Well, because I want to be present for my kids. Because I don't want to be exhausted all the time. Maybe it's because my wife deserves a husband who leads, protects, and is present. Or because my body is a stewardship, not an afterthought. When your why is clear, discipline becomes easier, not because it's painless, but because it's purposeful. Scripture reminds us in 1 Corinthians 6, 19 through 20, that our bodies are the temple, or a temple. We are called to honor God with them. And that doesn't mean perfection, it means intentionality. Last week, I told you that in this episode, I was going to share a little bit about my health journey. My health journey started in 2024. I had to get honest with myself. I wasn't unhealthy because I didn't know what to do. I was unhealthy because I wasn't prioritizing why it mattered. I'll be honest. For me, the turning point was one day in the end of 2024 where I had to take my daughter, Ava, she was about 3 at the time, maybe weighed 30 pounds wet, and I had to pick her up, put her in the truck. And the realization stuck to me that took a lot more effort than it probably should have for a 30-pound child. And the fact that she's only 3 years old, she's gonna keep growing. What would happen if her dad really needed her? What if there was an emergency? What if there was an accident? Or maybe just plainly, what if she wanted to dance with dad? And it hit me pretty hard that I wasn't in the shape that could guarantee that was the future she was going to be looking for. And so I had to get real with myself. I had to get real with my lifestyle, my patterns, the things that were going on in my life, and I had to get honest with myself. And the turning point, it wasn't necessarily a number on the scale. At the time, I weighed around 210 pounds at probably my peak, which per BMI, yes, that's obese. But generally speaking, my weight hadn't fluctuated a whole lot in the last probably 8 years. It wasn't really a mirror moment. I had come accustomed to how I looked in the mirror because the changes in me were so gradual over time that it was just the norm for me. It was during this moment I realized that the version of me I was becoming wasn't aligned with the man I was called to be. I wanted more energy for my family. I needed to be more disciplined in my daily life and more consistency, not just motivation. That's when fitness stopped being about looking better and it started about living better. And that shift changed everything. You know, a lot of people would say, oh, you know, I'd die for my kids, or I'd die for this person, or, I'd put my life down. But would you live for them? Would you give them your honest effort to become the best version of you they could possibly have? I wanted to be around to make those memories with my daughter, but if I kept making the life decisions that I was, those weren't going to be the greatest memories. And so it was then that I began my journey to a better, healthier me. In 2025, it really kind of started off with Faye was training for a pageant. And I kind of, went alongside her, and, we started going to the gym regularly. And as difficult as it probably was in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't in great shape. And it was also humbling in many ways. You're talking to the guy that used to be in the military. Going back into the gym after 10, 15 years, because I used to use my injury as a crutch, I realized how little I could lift and how little I could do. And so I really had to build myself back up. But honestly, I really couldn't have done it if it wasn't for Faye. What us both being there was really an encouragement to each other. And it really helped us in that journey. So one of the things that I can tell you, when you're starting this journey out this year, have someone to do it with. It makes the world of a difference. There's something about you work out entirely differently when there's somebody else there versus working out just by yourself. During that journey, I managed to shed almost 20 pounds, probably about 4 inches off my waist, and strength that carries into every area of their life. Fitness should be a tool. Discipline is transferable. When you show up for your health, you start showing up better everywhere else. Work, home, church. If you're listening right now and thinking, I need to do something, but I don't know what to do or where to start, this is for you. Here are some simple, realistic starting points. 1, walk. Try to get anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. Do bodyweight movements at home. Try to strength train 2 to 3 times per week. You don't need a gym. You can lift the milk jug at home. It doesn't have to be that complex. It supports energy, metabolism, and injury prevention. Eat like an adult, not a diet. Focus on protein, whole foods, and yes, you need to drink your water. Not perfection, just better choices. Tie your habits to your why. Don't say, I need to work out. Say, I train because my family needs me strong. That is identity level change. If this episode connected with you, here are some of my challenges. 1, find your why, write it down, say it out loud, and post it somewhere so that you see it every single day. Commit to one small change this week, and don't do it alone. If you want support or accountability, or maybe a personalized plan, like and follow KF Fitness on Facebook. I'll leave a link down below. You can even send us a direct message if you'd like more information. We would love to help you take the next step. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with another man who needs it, because strength isn't forged alone, it's forged together. Thanks for spending this time with me on Forged Together. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay faithful, stay connected.